episode of Nonstop Nick Hill. I'm here in Cape Town. This is one of the first European settlements here in South Africa. But before we get into the history, I want to tell you how exactly I got here. When you last saw me, I was in Johannesburg. So I took a direct flight on Sem Air, I don't really know, but it's one of those domestic airlines here in South Africa. I took that flight from OR Tambo Airport in Johannesburg to here in Cape Town, just over 2 hours. Of course, the flight was delayed, but I got in at around 7:38 p.m. Went straight to my hostel here, Curiosity, in the Greenpoint area of Cape Town. My plan is to spend 3 days here in Cape Town. So today is Sunday, and then I'll be here Monday, Tuesday, and then leaving Wednesday evening for our next country. It's a Sunday morning. We're here on the waterfront, and there's this promenade built up on the waterfront here overlooking the ocean. And you can tell that the people here are really active. There are people running, walking, biking, skating. Cape Town is often described as one of the cities of the world with the best quality of life. And you can kind of see that when you're here. If you take a look at the map, you'll figure out exactly why Cape Town is called Cape Town. It sits on a peninsula jutting right into where the Indian Ocean meets the Atlantic Ocean. And this was a very strategic location for Europeans, because if you wanted to travel from Europe before the construction of the Suez Canal in the 20th century, you had to pass through this cape. Therefore, being able to control this strategic piece of land, known as the Cape of Good Hope, was extremely important to the European endeavor of being able to exploit the trade taking place on the Indian Ocean as well as in South Asia. The city of Cape Town started off as a Dutch settlement in the mid-1600s and then grew into a major trading settlement out of necessity due to its strategic location. The city then was passed to the British before becoming the second largest city in today's South Africa. Now, although it's been a while since the Dutch actually formally controlled this city, its Dutch heritage still remains strong. And that heritage can be seen in the culture of the Afrikaans people, whose language is a mix of Dutch and various other influences as that community stayed here in South Africa. One of those cultural practices is the BRAAI. And this is a word you're going to hear all over South Africa. And I actually had no idea what it meant, but I kept hearing it, I kept seeing the word, and you're going to see a lot of those very Dutch-looking words around here. And it's basically, I'm sure nobody here would actually agree to this, but I think the best way to describe it is like a barbecue. So we're going to see that also later in today's episode. It's summer here in the southern hemisphere, and the weather is very, very different from what it was like in Johannesburg. I think the weather in Johannesburg almost felt like a Seattle spring, where it's neither cold nor warm, but it was very rainy, and here you have the sun coming down strong. But it's still nice because you have the breeze from the ocean right here. However, I do not have a pair of shorts, and it seems like that's what everybody's choosing to wear in this weather. So I might actually pick up a pair of shorts down here before I head out to the BRAAI, change into that and be a little bit more comfortable, because right now, I just dropped off pretty much all my clothing to the laundromat to be washed today. So I'm just wearing what I haven't been wearing for the rest of my trip. And that is almost like a pair of Lululemon casual dress pants. I'm definitely very overdressed. Cape Town is also one of South Africa's 3 capitals. So I'm sure you remember from social studies class that there are 3 branches of government, at least in most of our Republican systems. And they are the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. So South Africa maintains 3 different capitals for each of the 3 branches of government. So here in Cape Town, we have the legislative branch. So this is where Parliament would be seated. And then in Bloemfontein, which is just, I think, south of Johannesburg, that's where we have the judicial system. And then in Pretoria, which is just north of Johannesburg, not too far away from the city, is where the executive branch sits. So we have those 3 cities acting as the seat of government, and then Johannesburg is the largest city and economic capital of the country. as I've mentioned before, the only raison d'être or reason behind the establishment of Johannesburg where it is today, because if you think about it, there's no access to any waterway in Johannesburg. It's not sitting in front of a sea. There's no river passing through it. There's no other economic mode of transportation or navigation in Johannesburg. And so it's really a unique city that way, that sits so inland. However, it's such a prosperous city. And the reason for that is it only grew up to support the mining industry, which was flourishing in that area. Okay, there are some really cute things here. Maybe I can find a pair of shorts here. But I'm also glad I asked for exactly how do you pronounce the name of the market before I started my video. But it is the Oranjezicht market, named after that particular neighborhood here in Cape Town. But it's been brought here to the waterfront just to boost foot traffic from the normal tourists would be in this part of the city anyway. But you've got clothes, little crafts, balsamic vinegar is food and drink, plants, vegetables. Got a typical like farmer's market kind of vibe behind me. Yeah, all the hipster items that you would want are available here at the Oranjezicht market. Behind me, you've got the part of the market dedicated to prepared foods. There's a food court here with all sorts of international cuisine, street food, crepes, Korean, you've got Ethiopian, you've got raw food, whatever that is, you've got coffee, burgers, everything. You've also got a section here for different crudité, snacks, olives, sweets, meats, oils, vinegars, everything. Bread. Yeah, it's a one-stop shop for anything hipster you would want here in Cape Town. I just left the huge Victoria and Albert, I believe, V&A Waterfront shopping center. It's this huge mall, really, really nice inside, and has the whole range of brands from the typical fast fashion stuff that you would find anywhere in the US to the most luxury brands, as well as some of the local brands just here in Africa and in South Africa. So I stopped by Young Designers Emporium, YDE. So they just have like little bits of items from local South African designers. Picked up a pair of shorts there, and then also stopped by this outdoor travel shop to get some stuff that I have lost or broken since leaving the US. Like my backpack cover, which I need so my backpack doesn't keep getting messed up, as well as my buff, which I lost at some point in Senegal. But right now, I'm just gonna head back to my hostel and then get changed, and then we can head to Somerset West for the BRAAI. So hello, I just took my Uber ride from downtown Cape Town, and now we're in Somerset West. It's beautiful. You've got the mountains here, and I'm with Ziad, who we met earlier in Johannesburg.
Yep.
And he's going to tell us what a BRAAI is, because if you come to South Africa, you're going to see that word everywhere. And if you're like me, if you're from the US, you will have never heard it before. And you're going to be Googling it. So he was inviting me. He's like, oh, you can come over to my family's BRAAI. I'm like, I have no idea what that is, but I'll say yes, because why not? Why not?
Yeah, this is a BRAAI. It's basically a barbecue. But we do it with nice flavors. We mix whatever we want to. We put chicken on, meat, sausage, some garlic rolls. You can even put vegetables on. So whatever you want to.
Yeah. So is it just a barbecue, or is there any element of it that makes it uniquely South African?
Probably the sausage. You know what sausage is?
Okay.
Do you know what that's
like a sausage? Yeah.
So the boerewors, that's what they call it.
Okay.
So I think that's where it originally stems from.
Yeah.
Boerewors. But then the meat and the chicken is all added on.
And does is there like a typical like spice marinade that you use, or is it like just depends on the family?
Everyone's different.
Yeah.
So some people will just use salt and pepper, but because we Malay,
Yeah.
and we will just throw like all the spices, mostly from Durban, from India.
Okay. Okay.
Very similar.
You said you're Malay.
I'm Malay.
Malay. What does that mean? Is that
Like Cape Malay. How do you explain Cape Malay? Islam. Yeah, Muslim.
Muslim? Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we've got origins from India, from everywhere.
Okay. It's not Malay
Pakistan.
like Malaysia, no.
Yeah, definitely. I think it comes from Malaysia. Because Malaysia is a Muslim country. Malaysian Muslim country.
Yeah.
Something
Okay.
like that.
Okay. Interesting.
Oh. Whew. And it's hot.
Yeah.
It's really
Okay.
hot.
The BRAAI.
This is the BRAAI.
This is the BRAAI. It's gonna be BRAAI,
You
right?
can only bribe you to support Liverpool.
Okay. Okay. Apparently that's another rule that. Hey, I would believe it. But I think that's like one of the things that cuts across all the different groups here in like South Africa is the BRAAI.
Yeah.
Everyone's obsessed with the
You
BRAAI.
know what the funny part was for me was the robot. And you were telling me.
Oh yeah, I was talking about the robot. Yeah, that's another thing. It's like nobody calls anything a street light or a walking sign. It's always a robot.
And he was looking for a robot.
So after enjoying our Sunday BRAAI out in Somerset, I'm back here in downtown Cape Town. I'm gonna grab some coffee or something to drink because it's warm out here. But I was actually wondering why there was such a heavy police presence down here this morning, and I had no idea there's a huge rugby game taking place right behind me at the stadium. When I was in Somerset, everyone was watching it on their TV, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is like the thing in rugby," and South Africa is playing, so that's why there's a huge crowd. But right now, just walking around, not too far from my hotel. It's about 6 p.m. and on taking the drive out to Somerset was actually really incredible because I got to see what life looked like in the Cape outside of the tourist heart here on the waterfront. And when you're on the highway out of Cape Town, you pass by numerous areas which are just haphazard settlements of shanty towns, and it's incredible how wide the gap is between the haves and the have-nots here in South Africa. And so it really feels like there are two or more societies working within this country. One which grew and evolved over the past 100 years, utilized their legal economic powers to grow, and another which would have been just cast aside and really could do nothing to better itself in a system which was designed to subjugate and oppress them and ensure that there would be no way that they could take power from the white minority. I hope you all enjoy taking a look at Cape Town's waterfront, as well as enjoying a Sunday BRAAI with me here in South Africa. With that, I'll say goodbye, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye, everyone.